What's up, guys? It's the Game Bro coming back to you. Hold on a second. It's the Game Bro coming back to you. I got my mouth full. We're looking at another PlayStation review. Or another shooter review. I'm eating, what is this, a bag of trail mix. So enjoy that in this audio review.
Today we are looking at Gekioh Shooting King on the PS1, an American release, known everywhere else as Shienryu. Developed by Warashi, and published by the Hamster Corporation or Natsumi for the home ports. The arcade version was published by on the Sega Titan Video hardware and is known as Shienryu everywhere but the US. As I said earlier, Gekioh is a two-player co-op capable vertically scrolling shooter that was released in arcades February of 1997 and ported to the Sega Saturn 4 months later. June 20th, 1999 saw the title get a PlayStation port in Japan, but it wouldn't be for another 3.5 years that it would be released in America, December 17th, 2002, over 2 years after the PS2 hit shelves. Shienryu was Warashi first attempt in the genre and is also known for Trigger Hard Exelica on the Sega Dreamcast, with both series seeing releases after on the PS2. Many of the developers that worked on Shienryu worked previously at Athena, who released Deo, looking very similar in its development. Kind of crazy that it was even released in America, let alone that long after its other versions, but with its many extra modes, some seeming comical, literally featuring a comical mode itself. It was aimed for the hardcore fans, or just a budget title to shit out for poor people. Regardless, now that we've bullshitted a few minutes of history to fill up my time slot, let's take a deeper look at this food stamp mom of a shooter.
Move, children! Vámonos! And his name is John C.
In American fashion, the story acts in a suggested serving type of way for shooters, gets ignored entirely, and still has to be present to be made and sold, and probably contains something to give you cancer or herpes again.
I'm eating again. Gekioh takes place in a distant future where Earth's people look to colonize other planets
that are similar and travel deep into space using caravans for travel. One caravan discovers a suitable planet near an alien sun and totally disregards the fact that there hasn't been any contact from the others. Some 93 years later, it's been discovered that the others were conquered by an alien human led by Commander Shienryu, or Purple Flame Dragon. Gay! The space fleet of aliens invade the newly colonized planet and makes a fortress across the world, destroying all human influence. In response, the defense team, Burn Dragon, what happens to me every Sunday morning, is formed with the best pilots to defend their new home, and the game unfolds over the 8 stages. Fire up the PS1 and you're blown away by the opening clip, almost setting the rest of the game up to fail. Visually, Gekioh looks pretty awesome, similar to the raiding games of the time, but with its own little twist. However, it doesn't really go out of the way to give you anything new. While exhibiting only a little bit of slowdown, which it shouldn't for a late PS1 release, Gekioh fills the screen with enemy fire, big bosses, crazy attacks, and difficulty in the later stages that make you want to bring out your inner Kurt Cobain, but this isn't the Nirvana of the genre like Batsugun or Donpachi. Visually, Gekioh only looks a touch better than the best 16-bit shooters, and not as flashy as its hotter sister on the Saturn. The scrolling and floating backdrops add depth to the game, at least trying to get the head into the throat, but it's the effort that counts. The ships on offer here are Wish versions of Raiden, even with the colors. You get 3 main weapon styles, the Vulcan, the laser, and the missiles, each with corresponding bomb attacks. I love the lasers though, powered up pretty much just mopping the floor with anything except the end bosses, making some of the game seem kinda easy. Pickups include weapon power-ups, speed-ups, bombs, shield and weapon changes, score bonuses, and level ups, littering the screen worse than X-Hamster ads. The 8 stages can loop twice, getting harder the second time around with faster enemy fire for the sloppy seconds. Each level looks a little different, but mainly sky and space-based, which I'm cool with, because that's my jam. I will say though that the end bosses have some attention to detail, like a murder-suicide that planned for the kids, and are easy to finish off too, but that last one's a real bitch to get the rope around. As I mentioned earlier, the PlayStation version is loaded with different modes, right down to a pocket mode, looking like something on the Gamecom. Others include Laugh Track, Comical Mode, the difficult, stingy, and no mercy modes, slowdown and ancient versions similar to putting a magnet on an old TV. Shitty transition here, but the controls aren't too bad until the slowdown affects your movement when your main weapon is focused on larger enemies. Sometimes that leads to a cheap death when you can't get out of the way, or it speeds back up into enemy fire and enemies. Otherwise, its typical 8-way movement is pretty good. The game isn't too long, coming in a little over half an hour, with a decent livestock and respawning at checkpoints across the levels. The difficulty starts off really easy, but getting into the mid and later levels, it's ramped up and really makes the frustration set in. It's like learning you're about to be a dad and the final boss is the bitch you knocked up after half-price apps at Applebee's with the intentions of handing her a to-go box after the abortion. But what does it mean to the collection, you ask? Weird transition again? It's an uncommon title for the PlayStation, not the rare version that the Saturn has become, but its different Western release name is more obscure than anything. Its price isn't too bad, coming in at around $55 for a nice copy compared to the Saturn's Shienryu at roughly $150. Finding it in the wild is still difficult, with everyone holding on now with the market boom, but I have seen a few traded in since acquiring my copy last year. I'm getting pretty shitty at these segues, but boom! Finisher! More like finish her. Gekioh is the type of girl you hook up with from the dive bar down the street from your aunt's house on a Tuesday night. You don't really feel like staying there, so you head out and knock a few back to kill some time. This 6.5 strays over towards you as you're the only one left, and because you're always down for a playthrough, you head on over to her place to show her you're the real shooting king. You're not proud of it, you won't tell anyone about it, and it'll be another forgettable lay in your ever-growing body count. It's kind of like how Don Cheadle was recast in Iron Man 2. It happened. Deal with it. Anyway, guys, hope you liked the vid. Hope it wasn't too bland. I know this wasn't the usual wallet killer that we're used to seeing on this channel. If you're watching, if not, if you've made it this far, who knows? Like, comment, share, subscribe, go fuck yourself, because you probably won't get this far. I've been the Game Bro. See you next Tuesday.